Hello, I'm your host, Bobby Andrews, and welcome to Sports Source. Welcome back to Sports Source. We are about to get into a fun high school playoff segment, not only discussing the face-off on the field, but also how the mascots would face off in the ring. First up, we have North Oconee versus Sonoraville. Who do you guys got? Now let's shift gears over to Prince Avenue versus Mount Vernon. Who do you guys see coming out on top in that matchup?
Yeah, that Wolverines are voted unanimously one of the most ferocious creatures on this earth. They're
Not only do Mustangs have the size, they have the speed. No.
razor sharp teeth, razor sharp claws.
Mustangs.
Ferocious creatures.
I don't know who unanimously voted the Wolverine, but regardless, lastly, we have Athens Christian up against Darlington. What do we see here, guys?
So tigers are the king of the jungle, not lions. So tigers,
According to who?
According to sources.
Unanimously, apparently.
But
According to your mini sources.
The tigers have too much power.
I'm sticking with you. Okay, you get that one.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, okay. While I do love this talk about mascots, we do need to get into the rest of the show. We'll be right back here on Sports Source. UGA football is now 9-0 after beating number 1 Tennessee to put them at the top of the college football playoff rankings. Ohio State sits behind them at 2, followed by Michigan at 3, and the undefeated TCU Horned Frogs jump into the 4 spot. In addition, both UGA men and women's basketball teams have kicked off their seasons with a win. The men's team defeated Western Carolina and the women's team defeated Coastal Carolina. Now before we get into too much Georgia basketball, let's transition to some high school sports. While basketball has just started, the softball season has just come to a close, and our reporter Troyce Graham visited Prince Avenue to talk to softball player Ella Osborne, who has aspirations to take her skills to the next level after coming off of career-threatening injury. Although UGA is unranked, I think they have a real shot at a deep run here in the tournament. They are 10-5-1 on the season and 4-3-1 in conference play, but still have some tough SEC competition to play, right, Brandon?
I thought it would be fun to ask our analysts which high school football team stocks are rising and which are falling. But Bobby, this is the first time in years the Patriots have won more than 5 games in a single season. Are you buying or selling Oglethorpe County?
Well, Eve, this Oglethorpe County Patriots team has been on a bit of a tear recently against some pretty easy opponents. Like you mentioned, they're currently sitting at 5-2 on the year, and they have not had a season with 4+ wins in a decade. The last time they had 4 wins in a season was in 2012, where they went 4-6. So it has been a while since this team has been competitive. So to answer your question, Eve, they say to buy low and sell high, right? Well, I believe this Patriots team will head into Prince Avenue tonight and come out with their 2nd consecutive loss. So I am selling. Get rid of every last share you own of this Patriots team, because I would not be surprised to see them lose at least 2 of their final 3 regular season games and even possibly lose out. What a year it's been for the Patriots, but the fun had to end at some point. Welcome back to Sports Source, and welcome to the show our analysts Elle Jacobson and Matt Welsh. Georgia basketball tipped off their season earlier this week against Western Carolina in a contest that ended with a Bulldog victory 68-55. UGA is heading to Wake Forest for a Dogs versus Demon Deacons matchup tonight, but things look a lot different courtside for the Bulldogs, don't they, Elle and Matt?
Strana and Akeem Miskadeen are new additions for UGA.
So obviously a lot of changes for the Bulldogs, but things look a little different for Wake Forest also. How different does this Wake Forest team look from last year?
8 points per game last year, so he figures to be a big part of Wake's offense moving forward this year as well.
We'll keep an eye on Williamson for sure, but who else should we watch in tonight's matchup? So with all these new additions to both squads, how do you guys see tonight's matchup shaking out? The SEC hasn't been kind to UGA, and their conference record shows it. But if we look back on their season, they have had their fair share of difficult SEC matchups and losses that could have gone the other way. They have had run-ins with a couple of top 25 opponents, including number 21 South Carolina and number 3 Alabama, both of which UGA lost to only by 1 goal, losing 0-1 against South Carolina and 1-2 against Alabama.